talking today to elDee, a Nigerian artist. When did you start in the business?
I started off my career in 1998 professionally.
Yeah.
Been doing it since '96. Then kind of picked up, went to radio. So we had our first big record in '98, end of '98.
Okay. And that record, how many copies sold of that record?
Oh, we didn't sell any of those records.
Yes.
The first couple of records, because at the time we had just started a new label,
Yeah.
an independent label,
Yeah.
Tribe Records, and we were still trying to figure things out. So we
Learning as you were going along.
process of exactly trying to figure out how to solve these problems. One of the things we're able to do was to, I guess, approach the pirates at the time,
Yeah.
and sort of legitimize what they were doing by actually giving them licenses.
Yeah.
And that's how we managed to sell the first one, but it didn't work out as well as we wanted it to. So we didn't really make money off of that first record yet.
Okay. So your most successful record was what?
Big Boy.
And how many copies do you think Big Boy sold?
I think it might have done up to 1 million
Okay.
or more.
You say it might have done. Describe to me.
It's hard to tell because, again, we have a system where the product is being produced by the marketer, who really is who wouldn't give you the actual numbers. There's no way to verify the actual numbers because he has a relationship with the production plants. We can't really get in there to find out what's going on. So most times you have to chase him up for money.
Yeah.
Hey, how many copies you sold? And he's like, well, maybe 7,000. Here's money for 7,000.
Yes.
Here's money for 100,000. So that's how you get paid. And they do that until you get frustrated and you're like, you know what? Don't worry about it. I have a new record coming out anyway.
Yeah.
So they essentially make most of the money.
Yeah, okay. And so as an artist, how would you make money? What are the key sources of income?
Key sources in this market, touring is a big one.
Yeah.
And endorsements is another one. Outside of that, you're not really making that much money.
Okay.
I mean, there's a little bit of money coming in from digital these days, but it's not tangible.
It's in the hundreds rather than...
Yeah, a couple of thousands. It's not a couple $1,000s, which, when you think about it,
yeah,
it's neither here nor there.
Absolutely. But in terms of the endorsements, what's the kind of money there if you get a major brand?
It really depends. If you have a big brand, maybe it's one of the banks or like a telco or like a beverage brand, you could be looking at between 200,000 to about $1 million plus dollars. Yeah.
Okay, so quite big deals in that sense. Yeah. And when you go touring, is there a national touring circuit here?
We don't really have a national touring circuit. What usually happens is you have a couple of small tours, and then you just kind of create a schedule around all of those tours. So you can have one person doing 9 venues, another person doing 5 venues, another person doing 2 venues. So you kind of just create a schedule around all of those. So we don't have like a national 36 state tour or anything like that. Yeah, it's one of the things that we're working on as well.
Typically there will be sort of 5 or 10 venues within that tour?
Within each one?
Yeah.
5 to 10.
Yeah. So you don't get to the entire country at any...
Well, if you have a hot record and you can get to up to 75%.
Okay.
Because then people who do shows locally invite you. But then it wouldn't be a tour situation. You know what I mean?
Indeed.
So it's pretty much your tour because you're the one who's creating that schedule.
Yeah.
But there's no national tour where everyone can hop on. You know what I mean?
And you were describing earlier the venues you played with Glow, which is the mobile operator, one of the big mobile operators here.
So with Glow.
Yeah. And that was in some quite sort of unusual places.
Yeah.
So describe to me.
We did a show once in a place called I think we did a show in Makurdi.
Okay.
We did a show in some...
Makurdi is a really
Benue.
Relatively small town, isn't it?
Well, I mean, it's the capital of Benue, but it's not as bubbly entertainment-wise.
Yeah.
So I think what they're trying to do is reach out to those places where there's not a lot going on.
Yeah.
And they also have a loyal customer base.
Yeah.
So to give them entertainment, and then the turnout is usually huge.
Yeah.
In those places. Yeah.
And so you fill a stadium of what?
20, 30, 40,000 at times, depending on the city.
Yeah. Okay. And basically, you get a performance fee for that.
Yeah.
And what's the scale of performance fee between two numbers?
Typically about 1.5 million naira.
Okay.
About $10,000.
Okay.
Okay.
And what's happened with the live circuit here?
The thing about the live circuit that I've noticed, also based on my experience from seeing it abroad, is that it hasn't really developed yet. And maybe because we don't have enough bands, maybe because we don't really understand production that well. Most times a live band plays, it's not as interesting as actually seeing the live performer. You know what I mean? It's actually seeing a performer with maybe like a backing track or whatever. We haven't really perfected
presentation
yet. So I think that's one of the reasons why the live circuit is not so great. You find like small pockets of people doing like live gigs. Maybe in a more controlled environment for like 100, 200 people. Some of those are really nice, but no, like, it's not that big yet. I think it might have been back in the day, maybe like in the Fela Kuti times. In their era, they might have had more production, or more professional people to create the production. But for now, we're just kind of, climbing up that ladder.
And presumably, the music industry will change a great deal in the next 10 years as things like distribution and professionalism of the kind you're talking about come into play.
Absolutely.
And you yourself are transitioning out of being a performer into the management side.
More on the management side.
So you've got a distribution arm, and you've got.
We also have an event arm, which actually is supposed to be creating a national tour, like we talked about earlier. We also have the record label, and we have studios. We have the audio side, and we also have the video side.
So you've got 1-2 studios here?
On the audio side, we have 3 studios. The video side is a phase 2 project, and what we're actually trying to do is build production studios to make feature movies. Rather than the home videos, as is right now. elDee, thanks for talking to me today. Thanks for having me.